Welcome back to The Comic Dudes, a podcast about comic books and comic book related things. We're on month 2 of our X-Men Let's Reads. But before we get into all of that, my name is Dave. With me, as always, my esteemed co-hosts and friends, Matt and Eric. Boys, how we doing?
I'm good. Confused. Can't wait for you to explain all of what just happened to me.
I am Magneto, the master of magnet. I am so ready for this episode. More ready than most of you on this podcast will even know.
Okay.
I'm very ready to talk.
Well, if anyone would like to help Eric understand what we've read, you can join our Discord. That's the best way to connect with us, and I bet he'd really appreciate it.
Sure.
You can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We post action figure content over there, as well as some pod content and new episodes as they release. Not the whole episode, just a post about the episode coming out. So if you'd like to do that, we would appreciate it. We'd love to have you join our little group of friends in the Discord. We are talking X-Men. We read X-Men Mutant Genesis, which is the collected edition of the 1991 X-Men. I'm going to call it a reboot, but it's more like a soft reboot. It's a relaunch of the X-Men comic. It was the first new X-Men ongoing series in something like 20 years when it first came out.
Okay.
So it was a pretty momentous milestone type of occasion. It was first 7 issues. Boys, anything you want to add before I summarize?
No, you can
Summarize.
Summarize and
Okay.
lead.
So I'm realizing now I didn't finish the summary and I don't have all of my sources listed here. So I did plagiarize a great deal of this. And,
That's okay.
I'm a piece of shit because I can't even give credit because I closed that browser tab also.
Hey,
I'm very
I would have
sorry.
plagiarized it too. If you asked me to summarize this, it would make no sense.
All right, here we go. So this is split into 2 stories. The first arc is issues 1 through 3, which that story was actually called Mutant Genesis.
Yes.
And as previously mentioned, this is a soft reboot of the X-Men where Professor X splits the team into 2 squads. You have the blue team and the gold team. Blue team is comprised of Cyclops, Wolverine, Psylocke, Rogue, Beast, and Gambit. The gold team is Storm, Colossus, Jean Grey, Iceman, Archangel, and Jubilee. In Mutant Genesis, Magneto has reclaimed Asteroid M and gathered a group of followers named the Acolytes, which includes Fabian Cortez. He broadcasts an ultimatum to the world's governments, escalating to a threat involving nuclear weapons, essentially declaring mutant sovereignty and daring humanity to strike first. The X-Men mobilize both teams to confront him on the asteroid. There's a huge fight between the teams, Magneto and his acolytes on Asteroid M, ending with the X-Men ending the immediate threat, but the acolytes and Magneto do escape. In issues 4 through 7, we get a 4-issue arc that really centers on Wolverine's past and how it's affecting our present. They introduce 2 important characters, Omega Red, who is a Soviet-era mutate with a death-inducing pheromone power, which he refers to as his death factor, sort of the opposite of Wolverine's healing factor. He also has long, almost unbreakable tentacles made out of a substance called carbonite, which is almost as hard as adamantium. The other character introduced is a character named Maverick. He is a former Black Ops operative, and both of these characters have ties to Wolverine's past. Wolverine and Maverick were both a part of Team X with Sabretooth, though they never mentioned Team X directly in these 4 issues. That ends up happening later on. There's a lot of other stuff that happens in this summary that unfortunately, this is the part that I did not finish. I will tell you that Wolverine gets kidnapped by the Hand and Omega Red. They're trying to find a device that can make carbonite again, which will save Omega Red's life. He is perpetually dying without more carbonite. And then, of course, the X-Men do prevail. Sabretooth shows up. It's a good time. That summary really sort of ends on a whimper, and I'm sorry about that, but that is what we've read.
All good.
Yeah, it's definitely what I read.
God, I can already tell that Eric's going to rate this thing in a way that makes me so mad.
Let me just, before we even get into good or bad, I just want to say that reading this book, because I have not read a lot of X-Men, I watched the cartoon series, I've watched the movies. I think the X-Men are cool, but I just haven't spent much time with the comics. It felt like if you were at a very crowded party and there's lots of voices talking and you walked up to a group of people that are having a discussion and you walk in mid-conversation and you're trying to figure out what they're talking about, what's going on. But instead of sticking around to find out, you walk to the next group and then you're trying to figure that one out. And then instead of finishing that one, you walk to the next group and you never quite catch on to any conversation that anybody's having. That's what this felt like to me.
That's a great analogy for what it's like to pick up a comic in the middle of a run.
Yes. Because that's how
back in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Clearly so much context I did not have.
Yeah.
And so much of it, I was just like, I actually don't understand who's talking or what they're saying or what, why, where, and when. It was wild. I felt like I was going crazy.
We texted a little bit about this. And,
yes.
Yeah, I do feel for Eric, because if you didn't have a lot of previous X-Men knowledge, this could be a very hard start.
Mm-hmm.
You really kind of have to know a little bit about what's come before to really appreciate where we're headed or what's actually happening in the present. But
yeah.
I want to stick to our format.
Yes.
So these Let's Read episodes, there will be technically 5 sections. So we'll start with everything that we liked, which was the good. We'll then move into things that we didn't like, the bad. We'll discuss our favorite character. We'll discuss our least favorite character. And then we're going to rate them. And we do have a rating sheet with the Goodreads score as well. So we'll compare our average to the Goodreads average and also talk a little bit about where these comics ranked on the Goodreads top X-Men stories list. So without further ado, let's get into the good.
I do appreciate Eric's perspective, because I do think that's always good to have like an outside perspective of someone who's not clearly into all this, like, or whatever. Like, for me, X-Men number 1, and I'm also that person that like Eric's talked about, that's just like, or Dave said, it's just, I'm the person that will just jump into a story mid-run and like, I'll just figure it out. That's just like how I am. And I actually remember like the comic of this run that I had a lot of was number 3. I think I had like 3 copies of number 3 for some reason. I just remember that cover with Cyclops' beam and them all fighting on it. Like, I had definitely multiple copies of that cover. With that said, dude, like, much like a hungry fighter or boxer, bro, like, I needed this. I have not read like this story in a long time. And like, this is much like Dave, probably like, this is the foundation of the X-Men to me. Like, and I'm willing to accept I have some nostalgia on that, but this is the foundation for a lot of people. No, from this, I've gone back and read a lot of the older material from the Claremont run. Like, at one time I was trying to read all of the X-Men stuff that Claremont did, but this was definitely the jumping off point. Like, I got the Glass Man, like, this is video games, comics, HeroClix, everything. It's this story. I will start with my first point. Jim Lee, you got to come to the front of the congregation, dude. Like, this is there any more? This is the X-Men to me. X-Men 97 is blowing up. These are the comic. These are the costumes, the characters, all that. It's all based off of this. This is the foundation. I know X-Men's been around since the 50s, 60s.
60s. 63, 60s. I think.
These are and I've read a lot of it. I have the old Cyclops statue that I got from New York Comic Con with Dave right next to me. But these are the characters that I know and I love. And there's no one to this day, like, this might be a hot take, there is no one to this day who can draw Magneto better than Jim Lee, in my opinion. Like, when I think of Magneto, I think of Magneto from this run, Magneto from the Sega Genesis, X-Men game, and this art is just out of control good.
There's 3 artists that are quintessentially X-Men artists for me, in my opinion. And I think that maybe the better way to state this would be like my Mount Rushmore of X-Men artists. It's Jim Lee, it's Whilce Portacio, it's Mark Silvestri, and then I don't know who the fourth would. Maybe Joe Mads, maybe maybe Arthur Adams.
Yeah. I got it. Well, I'd have to throw it back to like Byrne or Cockrum. Cockrum was the artist, but like, yeah, because I've read that stuff.
But those first three, the Mount Rushmore of X-Men artists for me, because this is the 90s were when I really went deep into the X-Men, and this issue is what got me started, probably.
Yeah, like we read all the stories, but like honestly, like Mutant Genesis is like that is the foundation of the X-Men. Like, and I've said that a bunch, so I'm gonna like shut up. But like, Jim Lee art is my first point. Like,
yeah, same. I didn't realize this obviously as a kid because I was like 10 years old. But Jim Lee he did the plot for all of this as well. Yeah. He wasn't just doing the art, and I didn't realize that the first three issues for the Mutant Genesis arc, Claremont and Lee are co-plotting, but Claremont does the scripting. But then for those 4 Omega Red issues, it's 100% Jim Lee on the plot, and then the scripting credits are given to John Byrne and Scott Lobdell.
Yeah, well, we can go into that a little bit later. Definitely that's kind of more in the bad, but like they were giving a lot of the plotting credits to like the artist because like it was clearly an artist. I wish I was like really cognizant back in the 90s, but Marvel was really focusing on the artist. So like, it's like, let's do the art and then we'll fill in the word bubbles. You know,
I mean, they were doing everything but paying them a livable wage.
Yeah. And
giving them credit for the characters that they created, which, you know, could be a whole separate conversation. I'm actually with you on, what you said about this is sort of like, this is the X-Men. And the reason that I love this so much, and it's really sort of, I'm almost giving them some retroactive credit because this is the X-Men, like I'm going to say pre-MCU-ified, where they don't all fully trust each other. There's like, they're prickly. There's a lot of sarcasm. They're really bound together by a common cause, and that cause is surviving in a world that hates and fears them. My God, that is the X-Men. That is the foundation of which the characters were created, only it's executed in a way that is just visually stunning. And the nostalgia for this is overwhelming at times, and it did make it a little bit more difficult for me to be critical, though I still was, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, first good point for me was like, yeah, this is absolutely how I want the X-Men to be.
Like the hated and feared point, like the only era that was like, that means it's close to me is like, I love that whole Utopia stuff when they were on the island. Like, I know that's like nostalgia as well too, but like, that's when you started getting me into comics. Like, hey man, you need to read the X-Men. Like, oh my gosh, all the, Messiah Complex, Messiah War, like all that stuff is like really good as well too. That's the only
really
thing that
high
comes
on the Goodreads list.
Yeah, that comes close to this era to me is like that stuff was really good. So
I agree
on a personal level, nostalgia level, but I'll just say Rogue and Psylocke. I don't know if I need to say anything more than that. If we're going to talk about art, Rogue and Psylocke, I know Eric's a big Rogue guy. I'm a real big Psylocke guy. We got a couple swimsuit issues in the back. Yeah,
that was egregious. Yeah. That was egregious. Oh, I was doing laps in the pool. Let me just throw a leather jacket over my swimsuit and go on a mission. Come on.
I will say I love the art here. This book is nostalgic to me in the sense that this is an era in which I fell in love with comic art. And Jim Lee and really everybody involved in the early formation of like Image Comics and stuff were a big part of me figuring out that this was something intriguing to me. And at the same time, this book is exemplary of why I never really got into superhero comics, because I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I like the art. I used to buy comics because I liked the art and never read them. And this book,
The art
didn't matter what the word bubbles said. Some of it was, inconsequential. Some of it was very consequential. But there was a point when I stopped even reading it and I was just looking at the images, and I could still sort of follow in any sequence what was happening. And I just liked looking at it. The other thing that I think is cool, and you guys just kind of brought it up, is the nostalgia for the 90s. There are so many things, like, number one, it is an absolute assault on your senses. It is extreme, everything happening at the same time. You have chaotic every image on one page happening with a million word bubbles, and I'm like, everything is happening, right? They kept finding excuses to put things in there, like, how do we get the female characters into an evening gown? How do we get the female characters into a swimsuit? Like, we go from one scene where something very serious is happening to we're in a swimming pool diving, and then immediately move away from that. We got a whole ass basketball game that takes place for no reason. Like, there's so much stuff that just screamed 90s that even though I didn't read this specific run, there was nostalgia that I still felt when I was reading it, if that makes sense. I thought that stuff was charming.
athletic events are always a part of the X-Men, though, from the history. Like, they play baseball, like, the basketball is hot in the 90s. You got to stay in shape, so that was definitely
some of it was like cringe nostalgia, and some of it was like, I wish it was still like that nostalgia,
I know we're talking about the ladies, dude. If I could have a massive wall scroll, like, of some of these Magneto pages, I would. Like, I can, like, that Magneto where it's the splash page and it's like Rubicon and it's like him and all his majesty and glory. Like, I think these are some of, like, the best panels. It's like him, Jim Lee on X-Men and Batman are like the best, some of the best art in my opinion. Like, it's just so good. So good.
Jim Lee on Batman does not hit the same way as Jim Lee on X-Men.
No, it doesn't.
Like, he do a great job drawing Batman? Yeah, absolutely. Is he even in like my top 5 Batman artists? Man, I don't know.
He is for me, but I'm just like a Jim Lee mark, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's like whatever he's going to do.
He's only done like 24 Batman issues in total. He did Hush and Hush 2.
And I'm a damn mark for all of them.
Yeah, but you can't be top 5 all time if you only drew 24 issues. That's ridiculous.
You guys were saying this is like the X-Men. There are so many iconic panels that are just like, that is the Rogue pose. That is the Magneto pose. That is the Beast pose.
Dave can feel it. That's what we needed it. Dave, he can feel it.
There are so many of these that I would get to that panel and be like, oh, this is on shirts. This is on posters. Like, this is, when you think of this character, this is what you think of. And I think that's really cool.
Archangel doing a kind of fastball special with Colossus flying at the page. Like, dude, like, there's just some iconic stuff in this book. Like that, the Magneto, just like his face, like I've seen that on t-shirt. You see that that image replicated so many places.
X-Men number 5, the cover, one of my favorite comic book covers of all time. It's Wolverine and Omega Red. Omega Red, one of my favorite X-Men villains, Wolverine villains, whatever you want to call them, of all time, because of this arc.
Really?
Uh-huh. Love Omega Red, dude.
I didn't know you were big Omega Red. Omega Red. All right.
Dude, great powers.
Okay, explain this to me. Omega Red is the resurrected form of a different character that has history with Wolverine. Who was Omega Red before?
It's the same guy. He was in stasis or a medically induced coma or something. They woke him back up. He was down for 30 years. Is this the
introduction of this character?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was a character under a different name that had shown up in the comics or something before.
Nope.
I like that the sound Omega Red's tentacles make is Shrek.
Pre-Shrek.
Yeah, pre-Shrek, but it's still
Pre-Shrek.
This is also pre-Wolverine origin. And
the Mystique.
Yeah, this is an era where Wolverine is still not fully able to access his past or his memories. He's still very much damaged, still very much hard to trust in many situations. And that is where, in my opinion, Wolverine is the most interesting.
So this is before all the Weapon X stuff and all that.
No, I think that stuff came out.
I thought Weapon X was in the late 80s. You're talking like the Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X?
Yeah.
I think that was previous to this.
Okay.
But Wolverine getting all of his memories back is post.
Oh, got it.
This made me want to go back and read Executioner Song and the agenda, because isn't that Executioner Song?
So Executioner Song is after this. Extinction Agenda was right before this. I really, really, really wish we had read Extinction Agenda. It's almost a direct lead into this, and it's also just a fantastic story.
They're mentioning it and talking about it. I'm like, oh, doesn't that? I was like, that was before. Like, and I know I've read it before because there's a lot of Genosha stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I kind of wish we had read that, but yeah.
Yeah, all of the Genosha stuff happened right before this. That's why there's a lot of Magneto, and this is also written down in my good, but in those first 3 issues, Magneto makes more than one comment about not being a villain, not being the bad guy, but sort of being thrust into the role of mutant messiah. But he's never really viewing himself as a force for evil, particularly in this story.
He's one of the few villains that like I'm okay with, like, that gray. It makes his character compelling. I think they just do it sometimes just to like, oh, everyone's not truly bad. Like, nah, man, there's some like truly bad people, but like Magneto, any of his Holocaust upbringing, like it makes sense, like why he is the way he is. And obviously how him and Professor X play off of each other. Like it just makes that whole relationship even deeper, and it just makes sense and it works here. And I'm getting tingly talking about it, 'cause like, it's just so, it is the foundation. It is the backbone.
Something else that was good. I'm going to have to bring up our friend Garth. Shout out the boys.
Really?
Because now we can understand Moira McTaggart and Banshee when they speak.
I caught a Ken in there.
A lot of Scottish in here.
Yeah.
And we now know how to read that thanks to the boys.
That's
so
true.
Thank you, Garth Ennis and the boys. Once again, you have paid something forward to us that we've been able to leverage for positivity on the podcast.
I absolutely had a moment where I was like, oh, I know what this means.
Uh-huh.
It is my greatest recommendation of all time.
It actually is. It's the best one you've had.
It took a lot. It was very painful.
Yeah, no, you took a beating for months because of it, but eventually it bore fruit for you.
Thank you. I'm like a general manager that gets fired. He built like a great team. He gets fired, and then he won the Super Bowl.
I don't have a whole lot more good to say, because most of what I'm just going to say is different flavors of, my God, I love the X-Men. This is nostalgia. Jim Lee is the quintessential X-Men artist.
Yeah.
This is great. I love it just because it's the X-Men.
I guess this sort of falls into the 90s nostalgia, but more of it was a different time where there's a lot of techno babble in this. They're talking about different technologies and stuff. And a lot of it is just making stuff up, but there's a few points where I'm like, man, probably nobody knew what this meant at the time. But specifically when Forge is using Cerebro and he's like, oh, the human voice isn't working. I can fix it though. I'll just add a new megabyte and some microchips, and then it'll sound a lot more human. I'm like, yeah, man, add that new megabyte. Make it happen. But stuff like that I actually found to be very charming, because it just reminded me of a time when something like this could be written and you weren't thinking of it like that,
Yeah, actually, you know what? I have one more good I'd like to add also. And that is some of the exposition in this comic, and particularly in this era of comics. But there are some times where you just get like a fantastic full body shot of Magneto looking like a badass, and you get 3 or 4 boxes of text that give you insight into what he's thinking without it having to be a thought bubble coming off of his head. I know that's a Chris Claremont thing, but it does happen in issues 4 through 7, though not as often. But I do really appreciate that when it's done well and not overly wordy or verbose. And I think that a really nice balance is struck here, that those moments enhance the reading experience for me in a way that typically it would do the opposite. And I would be like, why is there so much words? Let me look at the pretty pictures. But that could also be because this is also a young Jim Lee, and he wasn't as refined as a storyteller. And I know that we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and move into the bad.
I love Chris Claremont, but I will say there were parts of this that were like, there was a lot of text at times. And
a lot.
If you weren't like, if you're reading some modern comics and then you just pick this up, you got to be in for it. Or like, I know you guys can read real fast. Like, there's no way I could have picked this up and read all 7 issues today. There's no way. There's just too much writing. So if you're like not in for that or down for that, like, get ready. But it is written in a way where you get so much from that text. So like, that's where it's kind of a good bad thing. Like, you get so much, like Dave is saying, from that text. But like, if you're not ready to read, like, these comics are about like Daredevil, Born Again, stuff like this, like Claremont stuff, like, you get so much from all of that text, but it is a lot of reading. Like, people who look down on comics, I don't know how they were looking down on comics today, because like, these are like legit stories, like with writing, and like, I don't get it. But the text at times was a lot. And for me, I praise Jim Lee a lot in this. There are definitely some panels in this book where like, I could see where Jim didn't put as much passion or effort into it as he did some other panels. A lot of like the outer space stuff sometimes was like, I could kind of tell where he wasn't like the biggest fan of it.
I think at times the art suffered too, just from the era that we were in. We were still doing like, it maybe wasn't 4-color printing, but it wasn't digital coloring like we have today. Yeah. So you still have some color saturation and fill issues due to that printing style.
Brother, how many copies of this have you bought? Do you think, like, number one? How many number one issues do you think you bought of this?
I had enough to make the connecting, like, the full connect. So 3 or 4.
Okay.
Were there 6? I don't know. I bought all the cover. I have all the covers.
So, like, there's, like, I think there's the 4 connecting. There's a singular one. Oh, so you were very disciplined, bro. There's a time, anytime I saw this, I, like, bought it. And then you talking about the recolor, they did a facsimile a couple years ago with, like, modern coloring.
Well, there's a full recoloring of Mutant Genesis, the collection, too.
Oh, is it really? I might have to get that. I actually might want to get that.
So I bought both to compare.
Okay.
Dude, OG's better. OG is better.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. The recolor just looked a little bit too...
Like clean?
Yeah, it was a little too shiny and clean. And like some of the coloring, like the colors aren't quite the same.
Yeah.
It just didn't do it for me.
I got you.
I got about 3 pages into that, and I said, I'm just going to go read the OG for this.
All right, let's hear what Eric's got. Eric's probably chomping at the bit. Let's go.
I mean, the bad is, I mean, depending on how granular you want to get, but like at a high level, I found this to be largely unreadable. It was nonsense. It was chaos. Like, I almost never knew what was going on. I'm like, in a single panel, I could probably figure out what was happening, but in the context of a story, I had no idea who was saying what to who, why they were saying it, where these characters came from, what was going on. The first arc, I have no idea what the fuck happened in it. The second one, I kind of stopped reading the words. I would look at them and be like, that says something. Let me go to the next panel. Like, I got through it, but I took very little away in a story sense from this. The second arc, especially, they just kept throwing new characters in. It wasn't any.
I was lost. I was
there
lost.
There was no introductions. Just, oh, there's Mojo. We're in Mojo World. What the hell?
Long shot just shows up. Like,
right. Like, there was just characters appearing, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Put that in my good for me, will you?
I just wanted to slow this all down and I like to think I'm not somebody that needs everything spelled out for me, but after reading this, I'm like, yeah, I do. I fucking do. I need a story to tell me a story. I need you to explain the character's motivations. I need you to tell me why they are where and help me understand why this character feels this way and wants to do this. And there wasn't even it's not like, oh, I don't understand why this character feels this way about this character. They're saying a thing and I don't even know what they're talking about. So I can't understand what they're feeling. It was a really convoluted book to me. It was very, very difficult to read. I think it was very cool because visually there is some really awesome stuff to look at, but I didn't gain any knowledge about the characters. I didn't walk away going, oh, now I understand a lot more about this character. We got some Wolverine here, but even at that, sometimes it was visually confusing. Sometimes the story was confusing. And then when you layer in, like, we did have a lot of different accents and ways that people spoke. And some of these people speak in ways that Beast speaks in a very eloquent manner and uses all these big words. And, these characters have these chopped up, abbreviated, like I'm speaking in a Scottish accent, or you've got the Cajun accent and all of these different
French too.
From one bubble to another, I'm going, the fuck is happening? It was a lot. It was just a lot. And there is so much text. There is so much text in it that it was dense. It was a slow read. This was a difficult book for me.
Your perspective is fascinating.
It's so good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you're not biased like Matt and I. I'll forgive so many wrongs because fuck, this is the quintessential X-Men and Jim Lee drew it and I love it.
Right. I love that aspect of it. And I think it's like, I still look at it and I go, that's cool. I like the X-Men. This is cool. I didn't get a story that felt like a self-contained, here's a beginning, here's a middle, here's an end from either of these arcs. It felt like you're getting, here's a bunch of tail ends of stories that started somewhere else. And if you don't know them, too bad.
I would say it's more like if you don't know them, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't think too bad implies that there's some concern for your ability to understand, and there's not.
No, there's not. What you're saying is actually an important distinction because there's, aside from a couple of editor notes that are like, hey, this is talking about something that happened in this issue, which is a very common thing in comics. You see that all the time. It really was, this is written for the most hardcore and seasoned of fans. If you don't know who every one of these characters is, all their backstories, everything that happened event-wise up until here, it's really difficult to jump in and go, oh, I can even start to figure out what's happening and why and when and where, because there's some jumping through time and place as well that is not clear. There's no, let me clarify that we've moved from one scene to another.
There's one scene near the end where Beast is talking. It's either Beast or Cyclops is talking about like gathering up all of their, their family members to leave or whatever. And he makes a comment about Psylocke and he goes, yeah, our Japanese ninja by way of Great Britain. And if you don't know that the consciousness of Quanon is trapped in Betsy Braddock's body, you have absolutely no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
What do you mean that a guy
a
who
lot of this book was like that to me?
I don't understand how you don't get it. It's very simple, Eric. The Magneto is a Holocaust survivor. At one point, he was turned into an infant. They mind controlled him and implanted removed some memories from him. And
they changed his
he's
DNA.
A grown man. Changed his DNA, and he's a grown man again. Like it's just.
Yep. Exactly.
I forgot about that, bro. I don't even know anything about Quanon, Dave. Like I remember, like I know, but like I don't even remember reading. Like I know that, but I'm like
the current iteration of Psylocke is just Quanon now. There's no more Betsy. Betsy Braddock is now like back to herself, and she's gay.
Sweet, sounds good. Yeah.
Can you explain to me in that second Wolverine arc why at least 5 times they said this kid is out of sorts? Nobody told me this kid was out of sorts. Why that specific language? Why did it keep getting repeated?
Because he was under psionic influence from Psylocke. So he was just stuck in a loop. She put him in a loop he just kept repeating that phrase over and over again.
Oh, okay. So there was a reason for it.
There's a very brief mention of during their fight, Psylocke hit Sabretooth with her psychic knife.
Which, good luck if you don't know what that is either. Like, good luck.
Yeah, well, they talked about it. No, didn't talk about it at all. Referenced it a couple of times.
Yeah, they refer to it.
Yeah, this, aside from the nostalgia and really liking the art, this was a super unfun thing for me to read. And it's a big indication of why, when I thought I was going to get into comics in the 90s, I did not start. I would buy, some X-Men books and go, I don't know what's happening, and set them aside, and got into reading independent comics, because that stuff I could generally pick up from the beginning and go, oh, there's a story and it's 6 issues and I've got a self-contained story that makes sense to me.
You bring up a really fascinating point too, and I think like why I can kind of jump into comics. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like in the 90s. Like, for me jumping in, like, I could at least refer to digital comics, or even a bigger resource for me is just like, that's like the history side of my mind. Like, I can at least go on Wikipedia and like read something. Like, in the 90s as a kid, like, you didn't really have that. It's just like, oh, you missed, and especially, oh, you missed issue number 6. Good luck at your 5 and dime Woolworth getting you a copy of that. Like, that's not going to happen. So like, you're just kind of asked out at that point. So that's a really good like perspective. Like, I can see like young Eric, like, I'm not reading this. Like, this is too much. So
yeah. Oh, and I've got way more patience for stuff now than I did then.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll agree with you. This was hard to follow. Having not read it in 35 years or whatever, 34 years, very hard to follow. I got there. I could figure it out because I have enough. There's enough in the memory banks to fill in some gaps for me, and some light bulb moments where, I'd things would come back that I'd forgotten about. But largely this was hard to follow. And I do think some of it was due to some of the roughness in panel layouts. Is Jim Lee's art incredible? Yes. Is it always easy to follow and shows you exactly where your eye should go on the page? No, not here.
No. And you and I briefly talked about this offline, but because there was so much going on a page, I started trying to read page by page, which was very difficult. Not only because it was visually busy to me, but because sometimes it was hard to figure out where am I going next. And then when I went to guided view, that helped a little, but still there was, all of those story issues existed still, even in guided view to me.
What were you reading it on?
I read it on Hoopla.
Okay, I've never used their guided view.
There's guided view on Hoopla. I didn't even know that.
It's good. It works really well. As a matter of fact, a lot of times, like, if there is one big splash page with a lot of stuff, it'll show the full page and then guide to each individual bubble and stuff. And it works really well. So
sometimes with the guided view, like, stuff still gets cut off sometimes. Like, I don't know. I've noticed that.
So I used Kindle since I already owned this. And I was going to buy it on Neon Ichiban, but it wasn't there yet. The guided view on Kindle, which is the Comixology guided view, which is the best guided view that's available for digital comics reading, struggled to get this one right. It would skip some things. There was more than once I had to double tap out to go full page to trace where I was supposed to be reading, because the guided view was just like, fuck it, man, I don't know. How about this? It wouldn't be right.
I very much got the sense that a human being went through this book and built the guided view, because some of it was like, you could tell there was no like, hey, an algorithm figured out where to go. It definitely worked well. Like, I don't feel that I missed things because of it. Especially, there was a couple times that I checked and I'm like, oh no, yep, that is where it was supposed to go. So hey, if you can actually get a book from Hoopla, which it took me a few tries, I think the reader is decent.
I have more bads. So why the hell was Gambit kissing Jean in issue number 1?
It was a robot, wasn't it?
What?
Wasn't it a robot?
Was it?
Yeah, and it blew up. And
That was a Danger Room robot?
It was a Danger Room robot. He
Oh.
kissed Jean and it blew up and he failed.
So my guided view did not show me a blown up robot.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're talking about when they're doing the exercise and he comes in
showed
and
the
he kisses.
explosion, but I also didn't understand that it was actually. I didn't figure out that they were in the Danger Room until deep into that interaction.
You know, when I was reading that part, I had a feeling that that was going to be something that you said.
Yeah,
because even I was like, "Wait a minute, is this okay? It's Danger Room." But for someone that's not read this before, you would not have any idea.
Yeah, you'd have no clue what the Danger Room is either. Like you'd be super confused.
That I know.
I think the Danger Room is.
Yeah, I've played the.
They
games,
have it in 97.
I've watched the show. I've played the. I've never watched 97.
Oh, you haven't?
No. Before I watched it, I decided I'm going to rewatch the entire original series, and got deep into it, but didn't ever finish it. So
it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in you.
Well, that's fair.
Some of the dialogue was pretty corny. And it's okay when Beast does it because that's true to character. But there was one scene, and I want to say they were in the Blackbird. It was Cyclops talking to Hank. And he wanted Hank to get him out of a sticky situation, and he goes, "How about one of your nifty moves?"
Can't use nifty.
Cyclops.
I mean,
hey Hank, how about you pull one of your nifty moves? What is this? The 50s?
That's a throwback to
kind
the
of
60s.
a cornball. Yeah.
Yeah, but Scott's not that kind of a cornball.
Yeah, he's a leadership cornball.
He is. Issue number 1, I forgot how long it was. Like I kept checking. Like, am I done yet? No. No. I actually thought at one point that the trade paperback that I was reading didn't have issue breaks in it, and I had gotten into issues 2 or 3 or something.
That's the worst one.
It was crushing when I found out how far I had to go. Still, I was like, "This is 190 pages for 7 issues."
That's one of the benefits of reading paper. At least you can feel it in your hand. Sometimes it's like, bro, how many?
Yeah. This version of the hand, very disappointing.
Why?
I genuinely don't remember a time where they were unmasked and just sort of
just
hired goons.
Yeah, the dudes had flat tops and stuff. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they just had basic white guys with
just
guns.
White guys with guns.
And I'm supposed to believe this is the hand?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know about all that.
I didn't realize it was the hand at first because of
Neither
that.
did I. Yeah, neither did I. I didn't realize it was the hand until they said they were the hand.
Correct. The same.
Just bros.
I just thought they were weird looking hired guns. I mean, that's not what the hand is. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They're ninjas, yeah.
Unless it was a subgroup of the hand that Matsuo or whatever his name was. They were like a splinter off of the regular hand organization. I don't know.
We're reaching now.
I did like the Von Strucker twins though. I forgot about them.
I was confused by them.
It's Baron Von Strucker's children.
That's it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They referenced the Upstarts a couple of times. That's it's a real thing from the comics. They're like a group of younger villains trying to make a name for themselves. That's why his name Matsuo. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Or Matsuda?
Matsuo, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just I didn't know what he was from either.
He used to be Quanon's master. Psylocke's master.
Great. All the Quanon stuff. Perfect. Love that. I
don't know, man. I don't know what you want. Look, the X-Men have always been sort of convoluted and
for sure
complex in terms of their history and who does what and why. That's one of the great things about the X-Men, but it's also one of the largest barriers to entry.
My favorite X-Men content is grounded the X-Men dealing with sort of I don't want to say real world problems, but they've always been an analog for, marginalized people and groups. And I think that's really an interesting dynamic. And the second you start traveling time and dimensions, it starts to lose me a little bit. And some of that was happening in this book. And I was like, why are we doing this? We don't need to do this. But it's part of the X-Men thing. You just have to accept it.
Yeah. Hey, you might not like X-Men 97 season 2. If you ever get there.
It's all like apocalypse and stuff.
It starts with time travel.
Yeah. I hate time travel, so it is
the hefty dose of time travel and hijinks in X-Men 97 season 2.
Good. I don't think the X-Men need it, but it's just part of the X-Men mythos. You can't separate the two, I think. But
I think they need it.
Yeah.
Any pie eating competitions, Dave, or no?
No, thankfully, none of those. Not yet.
Perfect.
They need time travel because of that time travel. We don't have my favorite character, Cable.
That's true. You're a big Cable guy. Pay the cable bill.
Yeah. Cable guy. I've seen that movie.
It's just like that.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is.
I was curious, why Claremont left after the first 3 issues.
Mm-hmm.
That he was such a staple of getting the personalities of the X-Men. I was kind of curious what happened, because I remember there was a split, and it was pretty much he clashed with Bob Harris, who was the editor, a lot, and there was some friction between him and Jim Lee about the direction a little bit, but he doesn't hate Jim Lee or whatever. They had a difference of opinion on the book. I get it, because he worked with Jim Lee on Wildstorm books, so they came back together. So he didn't hate him or anything, but some of the bad from that was Claremont apparently wanted Wolverine to become a major villain, and he wanted Wolverine to die at the end of issue 3, which I think would be a huge mistake. Now I don't know if you remember that series, Dave, X-Men Forever, that it was Claremont coming back to the X-Men. I can't remember who the artist is. I should have wrote it down. I actually liked it. It was pretty good. But that was kind of what would have happened after issue 3 if he had his way. And Wolverine dies in that. He dies in the second issue or first issue maybe of that series. He wanted Gambit to become be the Fabian Cortez role of as to be the betrayer. And I don't know what storyline, but there is a storyline later on where Gambit, I don't know if it's Mutant I don't want to spoil it. I think it's Mutant Massacre. But we'll leave that at that. And it was the arc was more supposed to focus on Professor X, and the Shadow King is the dude with the little the Shriner's hat. I don't know what you call that hat, but that was supposed to be the main villain was Professor X and the Shadow King.
That hat is called a fez.
A fez, thank you. Thank you. And also Claremont wanted Loki to be a villain in the X-Men at some point. So
interesting.
There would probably be some Avengers involvement. But
yeah, there's been some Thor and X-Men crossovers in the past, I believe. There's stuff out there.
Some validity.
There's about to be one in the near future.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I'm glad Wolverine didn't get killed off or become a villain, because that would have changed the trajectory of the X-Men, I think, for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For sure. Also, I mean, I guess to wrap up the bad, with Claremont leaving, there was definitely it was a noticeable change when the scripting moved to John Byrne and then Scott Lobdell for 2 issues. It wasn't bad per se, but it was a noticeable tone shift in the dialogue for me.
It probably would be bad if you didn't have Jim Lee art. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that buttresses a lot of some of the writing.
Yeah, I agree.
About.
Yeah, if
really...
Jim Lee wasn't doing art on all 7 of these, we're having a much different conversation.
Yeah.
There's one art thing I didn't like.
Okay.
And it was the outfit Rogue was wearing for the date with Gambit. I'm just
that
not feeling it.
That Southern Belle outfit with all that lace or whatever.
Yeah,
that red.
Just not feeling it.
Yeah, it was a little interesting. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on to our favorite characters. Who would like to go first? Or would you like me to go first?
You should go first.
My favorite character was, and this is Matt particularly is I'm gonna get eyebrow raise here. It's Jubilee.
I have a question about Jubilee. They keep referring to her as
a kid.
Young. You're a kid.
A kid? You like the kid?
Jubilee doesn't look younger than any of them here. How old is Jubilee?
She's in her late teens.
Teenager, yeah.
And they are
20s, 30s. Yeah, late
Okay.
20s. Probably mid to late 20s at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Jubilee. Why Jubilee?
So I've always loved Jubilee. I think though the Jubilee and Wolverine relationship is one that is incredibly satisfying because of the stark contrast in their personalities, the way they approach life, and literally everything is about as opposite as it could possibly be. And she brings out a side of Wolverine that very rarely comes out, at least at the time. I'm talking, take me back to the 90s when Wolverine was in a solo book and Jubilee was there all the time as well. But she brings an energy to the team that no one else in this comic can do. Everyone is like very serious and sarcastic and chippy and kind of like laid into each other all the time, save for Beast, although he still does get his jabs in from time to time. She came to be at a time where we're post New Mutants being aged up into a very extreme version of the X-Men called X-Force. And it's before Generation X happens, and we get inundated with new teenage mutant heroes to be a part of the overarching X-Men family. And throughout the course of this entire book, everything with Jubilee just feels a little different. It feels a little lighter. It feels a little brighter, a little fresher. I love the energy.
I like this optimism from Day, a little optimism. All right.
I like the energy that Jubilee's presence brings to any X-Men team that she's a part of, but particularly in this run in the 90s. Like, this is when Jubilee, I think, was probably the most fun before she got turned into a vampire and had a kid.
Yes, I was going to say, make sure you get that vampire jab in there. Make sure you have that in there.
I don't have a problem with Shogo, but the vampire stuff was weird.
Mine, I said his name 100 times. Eric Magneto. Eric's the man, dude.
Isn't his name Eric Lenscher?
Eric Lenscher. Who's Eric Magnus? I just made that dude up. Eric Lenscher.
I just made that dude up.
Eric Lenscher.
Let's find out. Who is it? It's
probably like some porn star or something. I don't know. I would
well,
make sure you have your VPN up.
Professor Xavier refers to Magneto as Magnus from time to time. I think Magnus is still his name, but it's not his last name.
It's Lenscher, yeah, Eric Lenscher.
Eric Magnus, Earth 58163 is King Eric Magnus, formerly Magneto, the mutant king of Genosha.
I was putting some respect on his name. Put some respect on his name. I don't know. Yeah,
you're still talking about a different guy.
Sure, yeah. Magneto.
Still a Magneto. But he also spells his first name correctly, that Eric Magnus.
With a K.
I just like this era of Magneto, like kind of like what you said, like he doesn't see himself. I mean, I guess he might see himself as a villain, but like that's not his role. He's just ultimately looking out for his people and like wants to be left alone. But like we keep messing with him, so it's like, yeah, dude, like very much Malcolm X vibes, like whatever means necessary, man. Like I'm going to protect my people if you come mess with me. And it just those, like I said, the Jim Lee paintings, just like the majesty of it. It's just, I don't know, man, just a real cool stuff. Like, and I've always liked Magneto. I like that he's a little bit more complicated. I like his backstory. It makes sense. And I even like him in like the stuff that in the 2000s that me and Dave were talking about. Like, I like him as being the leader of the team. I like him, in a reluctant role he doesn't necessarily want to be in. Like he's one of the few that like the transition to like a good guy that like made sense to me and like worked. And it was I liked when Cyclops, this is later on, Eric, but like Cyclops becomes a little bit more extreme. Like Magneto's the one that's like, we tried that and like trying to pull him back. Like he's just a very complicated character and it just works. Like for me, it just
Extreme
works for me.
Cyclops.
Yeah, dude. Like Cyclops goes over the edge, and him and Magneto. I like those books as well too. So.
You guys are gonna have to bring me around on Cyclops because in this house, Scott is a laughable character. Just a most hated.
I have a feeling in December everyone is going to be all about Cyclops, and I took abuse for years, and I want to gatekeep this. I got beaten down for years, and I have a feeling that everyone's going to love Cyclops when this movie comes out. Oh, he's the best guy ever. Nah, man, I was getting beat down over my Cyclops love back in the day. So
Not by me.
no, not by you. I feel like you walked. That's a true friend. That man walked back like 12 blocks for me to get a statue. He's like, we went back with our bracelet to get that statue. Yeah, dude. Like, yes, he's right there. But yeah.
I would say aesthetically one of the most compelling characters to me, not story-wise or character-wise, but just every time there was a panel with Colossus, I was like, that is fucking cool.
Yeah.
I love the way he's drawn. He's just so cool. I wouldn't say that's my favorite character, but it's definitely like a character that stood out to me big time. Psylocke was a really interesting character, like more badass than I hadn't read much with Psylocke in it before. Like it's a character I'm aware of, but didn't know anything about the character. And if Rogue wasn't all over this entire thing, I would have probably picked Psylocke, but Rogue is the most interesting and best character to me.
Why? Just because she's hot? Like, what do you like about her? Her power set?
Well, the power set is like everything, right? I think the most interesting thing about Rogue is that she is stuck in this, I am desperate for human contact in a physical sense and an emotional sense. She holds herself back, even in an emotional sense. And it happens a little bit in this book because she's afraid of what comes with it.
Yeah.
Like this ultra powerful being that can't have the most basic of human interactions. I think that's a really interesting dynamic. And I think a lot of the X-Men have things like that going on, but hers is one of the most tragic. And I think not only aesthetically and visually do I find Rogue to be an interesting character, but I think that dynamic is one of the most interesting and tragic aspects. But also she just has such an awesome power set that I'm like, well, she can do whatever she wants. And I think it's interesting to see her, you know, sometimes inadvertently even siphon powers off of somebody and then end up with things that she doesn't know what to do with. I think all of that is a really compelling and interesting character.
Yeah, I think we all knew you were going to say Rogue.
Yeah, because I'm fucking one note, man. That's what I got.
It's okay. It's okay. Maybe next time you can pick Psylocke. Probably not. I don't think we're going to see much more of.
Do you like Gambit at all, like with his interactions with Rogue, or do you not like Gambit now?
I really don't know how to feel about Gambit. I tried to read some of the series that was Rogue and Gambit, and it didn't do anything for me. Gotcha. It wasn't interesting. I like some of their relationship in the sense that, and I liked in this book, this was like, I guess I could have put this in the good, his sort of like, you know, don't underestimate my, you know, willingness to try, you know, like I want to figure it out. The fact that he keeps trying to make something work and they have sort of a reluctant relationship that builds, right? I think that's interesting. Gambit's not one of my favorite characters, but I don't dislike Gambit either.
Okay. I used to think he was the coolest. Like, I thought he was the coolest guy back in the day. Like,
I think a lot of people did. I think Gambit was in the 90s especially, that was like a cool character. I still think he's a cool character.
Let's go to our least favorite character.
I mean, it has to be Judas, Fabian Cortez. He betrays Magneto. Like that goes hand in hand with mine. Like he's killing Magneto. Like was he in the cartoon, Dave? I can't remember it. Like
I don't remember.
Did they do this arc at all? Like
I haven't watched the original cartoon in a very long time. He's not in 97.
Okay. Fabian Court. I feel like he was in the cartoon and they did this arc, but I don't remember.
You might be right.
Yeah, I don't like Fabian Cortez. He's operating in the shadows. He's one of those kind of sneaky guys. He's killing Magneto. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to get us at war with, the humans.
Mhm.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's mine.
My least favorite character was Moria McTaggart.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Dirty flat scan.
Dirty flat scan.
I'm glad they explained what flat scan meant because they kept saying it. I'm like, what does that mean?
Are you being serious? Like you do know what it means, right?
Well, I didn't at first when they were saying it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But they that's one thing, one of the few things that they were like, let us explain this for you. That I was like, oh, okay.
Also, I mean, I think what the changing of Magneto's DNA.
Yeah, dude, that sparked it all up. He lost his mind.
Yeah, but not only that, the way that it affected him mentally, where he said, now you've called into question every decision that I've made since.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a heavy weight for someone to carry.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
And I know they walked it back by the end of issue 3 because she said, hey, I tried this on my son and it didn't work, so all your decisions were your own. And that, honestly, that kind of felt like a cop-out, and I should have put that in the bad. But, before they ruined it with that, I was all in on the mental terrorism that is making someone question whether or not their choices are their own, their actions are their own. Just sort of like the OG Gaslighter.
I just checked. Cortez was in the original animated series too. I remember.
That's what I thought too.
You remember it? Yeah.
Wasn't sure. All right, Eric. Of the many things that you didn't like, who was your least favorite character?
Jim Lee.
That would be one of his favorites.
Equally favorite and not. I love the art. I'm not sure what I think of his
storytelling
abilities. I don't know the character's name. He is one of the twins that was resurrecting Omega Red, and he just looks stupid. Like he's got Wolverine's hair,
stupid looks.
But he's got a. Is that who it is?
Does he have the blue hair? Does he have the blue hair?
Yeah, and a trench coat, and just looks like a real piece of shit all the time.
It's supposed to be black hair. It's just the color was limited at the time. So they would use blue hues to show depth of black.
Sure.
But it was black hair.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah, he did. He was a piece of shit. You're right.
Yeah. That's
I'm with
the
you
one.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because of his looks, he's a piece of shit.
Also because he just sucks.
He sucks.
He was a piece of shit. He tried to kill Wolverine 3 times.
Totally.
Right.
He was
going to kill all
terrible.
He said that Omega Red could go and kill as many of the X-Men they had captured as he wanted to heal himself. Yeah.
He's
a big piece of shit.
Unlikable one-dimensional character. Sucks.
Yeah. And he killed all those dudes that brought Omega Red back or traded him for Omega Red.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I didn't say how long you could enjoy the money.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right, little dick man. Because what do you mean?
That did happen.
So much anger. Cortez tried to betray the entire race. This guy got so much heat. Oh, good stuff.
Well, the only thing that's left to do is to rate this sucker.
Oh, shit, we're rating it.
Don't act surprised. We rated Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
You agonized over giving it a 0.5 point and then ended up not changing your score. This isn't a surprise.
We're rating out of 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you were surprised by the fact that you would have to rate this.
I'm stuck.
At the beginning of our discussion, I even mentioned that we're going to rate it at the end.
It's true.
Man.
What were you thinking about when I said that?
What are you stuck on? Wait, what are you stuck on?
He's stuck on 0.5 point. I guarantee he's stuck on 0.5 point.
He's got me messed up, man.
He's agonizing over, do I give it a 5 or a 4.5?
What did I...
Yeah, look at you laughing because you know I'm right.
Where are these? I gotta see these ratings. I knew we did the movie rate. Where are these ratings at?
It's called X-Men Let's Read Scores. It's in our Google Drive.
X-Men Let's Read. Here you go. All right, let's see what we got. Oh,
yeah.
Do we hit it with a half a point? Oh,
see what I mean?
No.
He's agonizing
hit
over
it with
a half
a point. Oh,
Eric, you want to just give your score while Matt thinks this over?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to start with mine?
No, go ahead. Give yours.
So I'm actually going to score this a 3.5.
Ooh, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
There's enough wrong with this from a storytelling perspective. And this is coming, from a place of I read this once and I love it. And while I still love it, I'm reading it with a little bit more critical lens than I did the first time. And I can't forgive some of those gaps and holes in the presentation of story. So I have to go 3.5. I had twice as much bad for this as I did for Old Man Logan. And I also had more bad than good.
I think I'm going to do the same. It's just Old Man Logan was just a more coherent story, in my opinion, than this. And they're flying space toilets, Eric, but there's kind of more of a satisfying payoff. And I would also say if we're rating this as a whole, not that I hated the Omega Red stuff, but the first 3 issues were kind of the meat of the story for me.
Way stronger.
And way stronger. So 3.5 makes sense to me as well too.
Okay. So you copied my homework?
I sure did.
I love the visual aesthetic of this. Didn't love what was there of the story of it. I'm going to go dead middle of the road, 2.5.
So that brings our average score to a 3.17. The Goodreads score is a 3.95. So just like Old Man Logan, we are lower than the Goodreads average. And on the Goodreads top X-Men stories list, this is number 39. It's the lowest of all of the ones that we are going to read, yet it still is a top 50.
I mean, it seems like it's a integral and iconic part of the franchise, but tough to read just this grouping of issues. You probably should read further out on both ends.
The entire Claremont saga, which is 87 issues.
Yeah. Tough to jump into. It's tough to jump into. Okay, well, the next thing that we'll be reading for our X-Men Let's Read is God Loves, Man Kills, which is number 3 on the Goodreads top X-Men stories list. So I'm excited. I've never read that before, so I'm excited to read this. Yes.
I've heard a lot about this one.
Yeah. It's only 4 issues. Short. So that will be coming at the end of August. This is coming out at the beginning of August. If you remember, we missed our June release for Old Man Logan because the site that we host the podcast with was down on the day that I went to upload it, and then we missed the window to release the episode. So we're doubling up in August to stay on track. And then in between X-Men Let's Read episodes, we're going to have a movie episode. Not sure what yet. There's a couple things we're kicking around, but we'll be back with something in 2 weeks that's movie content. And then 2 weeks after that, you're going to get God Loves, Man Kills. If anyone listening to this wants to read or reread that, so you can join us in our conversation for that at the end of the month. Until next time, my name is Dave.
And I'm Eric.
And I'm Matt, and I'll talk to you flat scans later.
Take care of yourselves, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.